Hey folks, welcome back to WarThunder. Today we're taking out the FJ4B VMF 232, I think that's its full name. The Event Fury that has the Bullpup AGM-12 guided missiles in a sim battle. We're on the big ass version of Mozdok with 3 cap points, so what I'm going to do is take off bow right, check the map, and we're going to coast in on the B point, which is the one closest to their spawn point. And as you can see, they have just started capping it. Very quick caps in domination. It's very nice having the Bullpup missiles on this thing because they are so much more streamlined than the rocket pods. So you can actually get to pretty much your top speed even fully laden, which is amazing. It also helps a lot when dogfighting because you don't always actually need to ditch them if you manage to sneak up on people when they're unaware of you. I imagine that most of the opponents we'll be seeing in this game, though, will be helicopters because they were only recently released. So a bit back I released a kill montage, if you like. Well, montage is probably the wrong word because there was no music, but a kill highlight reel with something like 30 odd kills using the Bullpups, and this game was one of the better ones that I had, so I thought I would just do this one on its own separately to the kill highlight reel, and instead talk you through a bit of the tactics about how to use them a little bit better. So there's the B point right there, pretty much in the center of the screen. I'm just going to be scouting around. Their spawn is just beneath it, around where it says hostile team is captured A. Given that they did just capture A, that's where we're going to be looking. So when you're using the rocket pods, which you probably will use prior to getting the missiles, you need to come in at quite a shallow angle, like quite low to the ground, because they work best when you get side shots on people. That was a poor rocket attempt, or missile rather. But when you're using these guided missiles, it's better to come from quite a steep angle, because if they are trying to think of a succinct way of wording it. If you're coming down right on them from above, then if you miss, you're still going to hit near them, and the chances are you'll still get a kill. Like, you can afford to miss by maybe up to about 2 meters, and the splash is still capable of penning the 20mm floor plate of T-64s. It's actually quite a good weapon to use in sim. Probably more effective in sim than RB, because T-64s are the easiest thing to kill with these things. If you come in at a low angle, like with the Hydras, then if you go high, for example, then you will sky the rocket over them, and you could miss by a lot more than a few meters, and there's no chance you'll get the kill. So to massively increase your kill percentage on the first hit, come in from a steep angle. We're talking like 40 degrees or more. And fire from as far away as possible, because that gives you the greatest chance to adjust the course and get it on target. Another tip that's very useful is to go into the guidance settings in your control bindings, and there's a slider. If you go into edit axis, or whatever the control thing is called, there's a sliding bar that's called the multiplier. You want to put relative control on, and you want to lower that multiplier to less than 50%, and it will make guiding these missiles so much easier because they don't snap around. It's quite a fluid, slight adjustment. It makes them a lot easier to use. Aside from that, how you choose to bind them and to what keys is up to you. Personally for Sim, I have the guidance set to the little hat switch on my joystick, which is like another mini joystick for your joystick hand's thumb. And I have the primary trigger, which is usually for small arms weapons like machine guns, as the activation key. So to fire the actual rocket, I'll pull the activation key, I'll hit the additional launch button, which is the third weapon button on my joystick. That fires the missile, and I keep the trigger held and use my thumb to guide them in. They will actually eventually, you'll have to fire from probably about 1.5 kilometers away, but they will converge exactly on your gun size pipper. So if they aren't moving and you get it bang on and you fire from sufficiently far away, then you don't even need to guide them in at all. I use the guidance to help if they're a moving target. Like I'll aim the pipper as if I'm leading them, so I'll try and get it so they'll just drive into it naturally, but if it looks like it might miss, that's what the little adjustments are great for. Obviously if you're firing at something with hull break, then the amount of the margin for error these things give you is insane. Like they will hull break things from stupidly far away to the point where honestly I think they're a bit unfair. I wouldn't mind at all if they would you see this guy here, I don't shoot because I'm not sure if he's actually friendly or enemy because of the direction of travel, and turns out he was enemy and he just fucked my engine up, so I should have really just shot him from miles away because it would have been a really easy shot. I had the setup perfect, but thankfully the engine's probably going to give me another, well, a good bunch of minutes really, because there's no leakage happening, and I just swoop around and get him anyway. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the margin for error. If I think honestly they should nerf them, at least in terms of the splash radius, and they should make them only kill if you get an actual direct hit, because with sufficient practice getting a direct hit is still very doable. Like I just said, if it's right on the pipper at a sufficient distance, then it will go exactly where you aim it, and that's regardless of your aircraft's orientation, the angle of the dive. It doesn't matter, so long as you're still in range for the burn to not have run out yet on the rocket. It'll go exactly where the pipper's pointed. They're actually harder to use at close range than they are at long, in my opinion. But you see there, I missed him by probably about 2 meters, and the splash just blew backwards and took out his ammo carousel, which is just absolutely filthy. And I was able to kill 2 choppers and 4 tanks with 5 missiles. I haven't yet managed to actually get a full 5 for 5. 4 for 5 is my best. I've managed that a bunch of times, but I'm sure that with practice I'll get better. But like I say, for the sake of people's sanity, they should really make it so you have to get a direct hit, because if you try and play Russia and Sim, it's not really a pleasant experience to begin with. The win rates really aren't very good, and this, and especially the new Viper, the AH-1Z, they just make it worse, way worse. If someone spawns in with the Viper, they can carry, I think it's 16 900mm Pen tow missiles. It's rare that a sim match has that many players on each team, so it's theoretically possible for one man to kill every single people. Jesus Christ, fucking losing my shit. It's theoretically possible for one Viper to wipe out the entire enemy team single-handedly, and it wouldn't even be that hard for them to do. especially if the other team don't field any aircraft. There's that version of the event where it's just helicopters. If you don't have helicopters yourself that can carry ATGMs, just don't play that mode, because it's fucking AIDS. It's the most horrible experience ever. It doesn't even matter which team you're on, because anything that has a large supply of guided missiles will just sit somewhere absolutely miles away. And if you don't have a long-range AGM on your vehicle on the ground to counter them, there is literally nothing you can do. The only things that can counter them are other helicopters, obviously, or long-range ATGMs. We're talking like 5-mile radius, 5-kilometer range ATGMs. The other ones just won't reach out far enough, and once an ATGM's travelled maybe about 2.5 kilometers, maybe, you lose sight of it, and that makes it really, really, really hard to guide unless they're completely stationary. And they don't need to be stationary to be bang on accurate, and so they won't be, because they're not going to just offer themselves up to you as a free kill, are they? So yeah, I don't think that helis and tanks only is really viable. I think that to get rid of all these old jets that don't quite fit with the new tanks, because that's what's ruining the experience for me right now, they really need to add something like the A-10, the Frogfoot, the Harrier, more modern jets that seem like they fit but aren't too good for, you know, they don't need to have afterburners, they don't need to be supersonic, they just need to carry dumbfire ordnance that fit the time period. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.